afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh, as Terence puts it, good afternoon. He said he's got his coffee with him this afternoon. So yeah, really looking forward to a very nice compact episode this afternoon. It's been 9 weeks. What is it? No, 9 episodes. About 4 or 5 weeks since it's just been me on the show. And so it's quite weird to be alone here with you this afternoon. I feel quite lonely. But be that as it may, let's tackle this afternoon. So thank you very much for joining me. I sort of sent out a little, we'll be going live in 30 minutes. I'm waiting for you kind of video to the WhatsApp group or the WhatsApp list. And I got quite a few responses. I'm glad if I can make you laugh on a Friday afternoon. Thank you very much for sending me messages and say that's funny and cool and all that kind of stuff. So I really, really appreciate it. I think I need a little bit of that at this point in time. But yeah, let's see who has joined us before I share some interesting information with you and get into the episode. So this afternoon, first in, Quibus. Thank you very much. Yes, we'll keep it simple, stupid. And then, as I said, Terence said, good afternoon, Terence. Nice to have you back with us. Elmin, same. You one of those that laughed at my little video. So thank you very much. Malcolm, good afternoon. Welcome back. Nice to have you. Jaco. Niks beter om te doen op in Kreersdorp op Vrydagmiddag as om vir my te luister, seker nie, so ek is baie bly daaroor. Francis Neetling, goeiemiddag Francis, good afternoon. Razan, good afternoon. Good stuff, 101, yes, so it feels like, like usually when something is 101, it is like your first year or the first time you're working with a subject. It means that you're a novice and a beginner, and I think that is exactly where we are with this show. Every time it's a learning curve, every time there's something that happens, something that I think about afterwards, like maybe we can do that different. And I'm so excited when I logged in last night to set up the live stream for today. There's some new functionality. Now, I can only use it when I have guests, so I'm really looking forward. I had a meeting earlier with someone today that's going to come on as a guest. I'm very excited to have her with us. And so then I'll test it out. So yeah, good stuff. I'm really excited about that. Then Dani Malan, goeiemiddag Dani, nice om jou hier te hê. We've got Flora in the house. Good afternoon, Flora. I think it's the first time I've seen you say hi, so very welcome, and please make yourself at home. Hope you have a hot coffee or tea or some beverage of your choice, because that is compulsory. If nobody told you, it is compulsory. And then Carol, 101, yes, 101. Here we go. So good stuff. Thank you very much for saying hi. As you know, I always ask, please interact and chat and make this fun, but also this is about connecting with the rest of the viewers and, building those relationships. So it's not just about the show, it is more about the community. So please feel free to do that. Just quickly, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. And we are growing slowly but surely. We're on 644 today. So every day there's one, or some days we skip, but we slowly but surely growing. There was a long time where we stood still, and then Quibus did that post on LinkedIn, and we quickly got to 600, and then we went slow for a little bit, and then suddenly, we're on 644. So yeah, trying to get to that magic 1,000. So I'll be very happy if you can please subscribe. If you get value from the channels, obviously, if you don't, then please don't subscribe. There's no reason then to. Then also, I've started to post some information on Instagram, or more behind the scenes and more about not my personal life, but just, some stuff and that maybe what I'm up to when you don't see me on the screen. So if you want to see more of that, you're welcome to follow me on Instagram. It's just at FrancoisDTZA. It's there on the screen. You can just go and search for me. You'll be able to find me there. And I post some stories, and every now and then a picture with some thoughts with it. So it's different usually from what I do on LinkedIn and on here. So you're more than welcome to check it out and connect with me there. Then also, if you're not part of the WhatsApp list, please, you're welcome to go and subscribe. This is now a group. So if you go to that address, it'll take you straight to the group. It's not that everybody can post. It's only myself that can post. So if you want to reply, you have to reply privately to me. And so that means that you won't get 1,000 pings of people saying cool show or looking forward to the show or anything like that. So please go, if you're not on the list yet and you want to be updated with what's coming up and when we're going live, etc., then please just visit francodutoit.co.za/WhatsApp, and it's very easy from there on. And also you can remove yourself from the group if you no longer want to receive the notifications. Cool stuff. All right, so some announcements and things that you need to know about. First of all, so this week I released a new episode on Propulsion. So Propulsion is my podcast, which is the audio experience. It is different from Virtual Coffee with Franco in the sense that it's not the same guests. And if it is the same guest that we've had on VCF, for example, it will be a different discussion. So it'll be unique. It also tends to be shorter. So I recently spoke to Derek Notman. You may have seen him on LinkedIn. He's very, very active on LinkedIn. And what Derek has done is he's turned his practice 100% virtual in 2013 already. So we talk about that and sort of the things to consider, why he did it. There's a whole host of things that we get into. It's about a 45-minute discussion. And we also talk about a system that he has developed called Connector that helps advisors do exactly the same. And it's not to say that, that you have to go completely virtual. So you could also just do semi-virtual, or just at least start incorporating, but you don't have to go through all the lessons and the pain and all that good stuff that Derek went through. So definitely something to check out. His story is really, really interesting. So please go check that out. Then the other big announcement is the Financial Planning Summit. It's a virtual summit that is taking place. Oh, too many buttons I need to push this afternoon. So it's taking place from the 12th until the 14th of October, and it's called the Virtual Financial Planning Summit. It's brand new, very, very interesting with the guests and the speakers that you'll have there. So let me just remove that so that you can see who the speakers are. The website is live. So there are some of the speakers. So you've got Andrew Moller from Citadel and Brandon Zitzman from Portfolio Metrics. You've got myself here. I'm going to moderate one of the panels. And there's a whole host of people here that you may know. You can see there's Ian van Skoor. And Kobus Klein is also going to be on. I think he's on the third day. Kevin Hinton, he's one of the moderators, but he's also the man behind organizing all of this, the collaborative exchange. It's the same people that do meet the managers, and etc. So this is only 575 Rand. It's a 3-day summit. The agenda is available if you go to the website. So let me just pull up the website there for you. So you can just go to financialplanning-summit.co.za and you are able then to view everything that I just showed you on the screen. So who the speakers are, the agenda, and all of that good stuff. So 575 Rand gets you in, you earn CPD, all that good stuff. So very excited for this, and hope to see you there. Alrighty, let me just make sure that I've got everything that I wanted to say. It looks like it, so we can surely continue. All right, right. So let's get into this discussion about simplifying absolutely everything, and that's been my mission. In the last couple of years, it's been action. Action has been my main focus and my main drive, and action. Acta non verba that I spoke about in one of the episodes. It's a Latin phrase meaning action, not words. And it's something that I learned from Eric Creer. And that is 2 years or so. And my focus absolutely is just doing. And now I've done so much that I now find myself in a place like, I don't know if this is really where I want to be. And it's just sort of getting too much. And in fact, I'll get to myself now in a second. But if I want to start off with asking you, like, how are you? And I mean, if I say, how are you? Usually the response is, I'm great. Business is good. I'm lucky to be busy. There's things happening. It's not like I don't know what to do. So that's usually the kind of answer that I would get if I ask somebody, how are you? But when I ask this question, I want you to really, really, really think, how am I? I want you to think about what emotions are you actually experiencing? Where are your stress levels? And this may not apply to everybody. Look, there are some people that have really coined it during this time, but there's also many of us that had to put in so much more effort in order to make it through all of this that we haven't taken the time. We just feel tired. We think we're tired. But in fact, I think there's a whole host of things underneath that. So are you feeling certain emotions that maybe you're keeping like just under the blanket, or is there stress and anxiety? And are you recognizing that you actually have these feelings? Because one of the main problems is that, usually with your family, your wife, your kids, your extended family, clients, peers, we try and keep up these appearances that everything is okay, and we're brave, and we just like, no, we're just moving forward. And it's inspirational for many people. And a lot of people find like, that inspires me. You know what? If Pity can do it, then I can do it. If Susie can do it, then I can do it. And from that point, I just like, I don't know, I started feeling, or I became acutely aware that, where usually these kind of feelings come and go, they came and it's like they're not leaving, So I don't know, although I am positive and I'm optimistic and I'm really, there's progress in my business, there's progress in my life, there's a whole host of things that I'm thankful for and that I'm very grateful for. The one thing that I do realize is that I'm still feeling anxiety. I'm still feeling stress. I feel like, getting to a place where maybe it's a little bit of burnout. And I think if you really go and look at that, the reason why that may be happening is that, and maybe we do it consciously or unconsciously, I don't even know. But what is resulting in those feelings is probably the fact that you are putting like most of your energy, your effort, and your time into one specific area in your life. And that one specific area may be probably work, business, because that's the money generator. It's the thing that keeps the fridge on and the lights on and the geyser on and, food on the table. So usually when things are tough, we step it up, right? We don't just go and like, we can still walk. I mean, if there's a volcano that is, what do you call it? I don't want to say abrupt. I don't know. But anyway, it blew up. Free State English. So it blew up, and now the lava is coming down. I watched Jurassic Park Fallen World the other day. And now, I mean, if the lava is coming, you're not just going to casually walk and go like, no, we still have time. No. You're going to run like mad. And it's the same thing that happens in business. When times are tough, the economy is tough. Like now when we were in lockdown, we give 10 times what we gave before. And often to get sort of a same result as what we got before. And I think those are the things that we don't realize when we do that, and we do it and we do it and we do it. And like in my instance, I was just, it's fun. I like working hard. I like doing more. I like being there for other people. It is amazing. It's an amazing feeling. But you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. And at some point, it starts catching up with you. No matter how you view it, no matter how much you exercise, no matter what the situation may be, it does catch up with you at some point. And unless we go and stand still and look back and really reevaluate where we are and say, listen, because often you're so busy running that you don't look up to see where in the world are you going. And then you end up like, just stand still for a second and think like, is this really where I want to be? Is this really what I want my life to be like? And then to recognize, is this a temporary thing or is this a permanent thing? Is this now my new life, or is it just, it's okay, I just got to get through this. It's almost like winter, it'll pass. So those things are important. The other problem that I've spoken to a couple of people in the last week or so that, they are doing, and I'm one of those, let me just be honest with you, is that, when it comes to money, often you will do anything to make sure that you're able to pay the bills at the end of the month. So meaning that sometimes you feel, I don't think you really are, but you feel like you are forced to take on certain work or to take on certain clients or to do multiple things so that there's a little bit of money coming from there and a little bit of money coming from there and a little bit of money here from the back, and old Batman will throw me a 10. That's what we do. And then at least at the end of the month, things sort of work out. But I don't know, all these things is, if you look at them combined, they get to that point where they start to catch up with you, and you start feeling anxiety all the time. You feel tired all the time. You just like feel like, is it worth it? Is it really where you want things to go? Is this what you imagined for yourself? So that's why my question, how are you? How are you doing? Have you thought about these things? Are you feeling some of these? Can you resonate with some of the things that I've shared just now? And, have you done anything about it? Have you sort of stopped to think and say, whoa, there's something going on here, we need to look at it? And the reason why I'm asking this, and I'm going to chat about my situation, so let me do that, and then I'll get back to why I want to talk about simplification. But I reached sort of that point where I felt like I'm about to burn out. And I know there were many of you that sent me messages to say, you know what, Francois, you need to slow down. You need to take it easy, just look after yourself, that kind. And I get mad. I do get mad sometimes. And the reason for that is because I'm so driven. It's got nothing to do with the fact that anybody said anything to me. And I'm quite honest with you. I'm very aware of why I react in certain ways. And I get mad because it's like, don't hold me back. If this is the pace at which I want to go at this pace. And there's such a fine line between really recognizing when somebody has your best interest at heart and deeply care about you versus like, they sort of say it because they want to make themselves feel better because they don't go as hard at what it is that they do. And it's so hard for me to recognize. And I also learned that it's not binary like that. It's not a black or a white sort of, it's gray. It's for everybody, it's different. And does it really matter? Because one of the things that I learned is that you need to listen to what if one person is telling you one thing, then you can say, I'm just going to, and there's lots of times that you shouldn't listen to them. But then there's these times where I feel like, you hear it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times from different people, then maybe you need to start listening. And usually I start listening when my wife tells me, listen, jy lyk vir my bietjie moeg. Then you sort of like, okay, because she lives with me every single day. And she can see exactly what's going on off air and how I behave off air and how much energy I've got or not. So that was sort of the final thing for me where I said, you know what, if she's also telling me, then I think I'm getting close to burnout. And you just want to keep going because it feels like you don't want to go backwards, right? But that's sort of one of the things. And I think one of the things that sort of also drives me is because, I don't know, in my mind it is, if you work hard, success will come. And it's because we hear this everywhere. And all the successful people, like they're working long hours, they are doing lots of things, but they're also very happy. They're also very, just, I don't know, they're just in their groove kind of thing. And I don't know, from my point of view, it's like the harder I work, the quicker success will come, or the easier success will come, or the more definite it will be that success will come. And I don't know if I deeply believe that anymore. Yes, you need to work hard. I mean, sitting on your backside is not going to do anything for you. But I think we really need to be focused, and we really need to be like thinking about how we go about things. So when you do work hard. And I've had a few discussions with some of the guests on the show, both on air and off air. And I learned quite a few from that, and there was quite a few things that are stuck in my mind. There's also a few podcasts that I listened to where people were telling their stories, which really, really sort of hit home for me. And I just got to a point where I started thinking about, shit, okay, is this what I want? Is this like how I want to be, like from the time I open my eyes until I go to sleep? It's just work, Monday to Sunday. And that's how my life has been for many years now. And, for the last 3, since my birthday, I think, I stopped putting on my laptop on the weekend. So on the Friday afternoon when I'm done here, I switch it off, and I only switch it on Monday. And it's hard for me, but it's helping. It's a little move in the right direction, I think. But one of the things that I realized is that I was one of those, or I am one of those, that would take on most opportunities because they can bring in money, and then you get so busy and everybody's calling, and you take all the calls, and you try and be there for everybody, and you try and just do all of that stuff. And at some point you realize that you're just not getting through your day. You're not getting the things done that are actually supposed to get done. And for me, that was quite a wake-up call. So that, together with all the stories and the guests' conversations and all of that, I just decided about 4 weeks ago that, you know what, I need to reevaluate where I am. And one of the things that I realized was that my life is way too complex. And the reason why it's so complex is because I make it so complex. It's because I say yes to everything. It is because I want to get involved in many different things. It's because I'm interested in so many things. You know, often I had a conversation with a friend yesterday as well, and I think he sits with exactly the same issue as I do, is where we're interested in many things. We are fairly good at many things. We know quite a lot of stuff. So basically, whatever you want, we can help. You know, but that becomes a problem. You know, it's much easier if I do one thing or two things, you know, at the most. But now I'm doing and I'll tell you now the process that I went through. But I mean, it's scary. If I look at it, I said to my wife, that's why. Look at it. You can see why. So I'm going to take you through the process in a second. But yeah, so that's why now I've changed my whole focus away from action and doing, and I'm more focusing on simplifying, because I can still action and do, but I just need to be more careful about what it is that I do and where I do put my energy and where I do commit. And I think it is so common where most people find themselves in, particularly if you're a small business, if you're a one-person, two-person business. It happens so easily. You know, I spoke to someone earlier today where there's certain things that they can do, but they've got a team behind them. You know, it makes it so much easier. So then you can manage more and you can delegate more. But when you're still like in this early phase and you don't have a team yet, it's very easy to fall into this trap. And the other problem is, the more you love what you do, the less you realize what's going on, because you're not working, you're having fun. And before you know it, it gets there. So I don't know if any of you actually feel that as well. You know, if you sort of experience that. And look, I'm going to look at this from a business perspective today, but this goes for anything in your life. And I'll get to right at the end. I'm going to talk about why should we simplify our lives. It's not only about your career or only about your business. This is about your life. You need to simplify your life. And that is what is critically important. But to do that, you need to really understand a few things. So I'll take you through that in a second. Let me see some of the comments. Let me see quickly. Kobus said earlier, like after the hype of 100 episodes, I take my hat off to you for going on it. Milestones is never easy to reach, and then to go on to the next one, it takes ongoing motivation from within. Thank you, Kobus. It is so. Then James says, ware woorde, so true words. Then Terence says, hard to not access the laptop on weekends. Wow, this one is tough for me. Terence, it's excruciating. How's that? That's my English word for today. Excruciating not to do that. It is the hardest thing in the world. But yeah, it's just like, if you keep yourself busy with other stuff, it helps quite a lot. Chart says he thinks he's there now. So ek dink ek is nou daar of baie naby. Yes, Chart, so you and I need to have a conversation. And Johan Marais, Johan asked me to sing, you can't be the tractor driver on your own farm. Yes, but often that's how we start off, right? So we buy the farm and then we need to farm, but we don't have anybody to help us yet. And and it's sort of this, I spoke about it in the other episode as well, where it's this evil sort of circle of life kind of thing happening, where you think that, let me first make money, then I'll appoint someone, but now you never make the money because you're so busy with things that do not make money, and then you don't get to appoint the people, and it just goes on and on and on. Good stuff. So Elmo says, you know that I identify with this, definitely looking to simplify things. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to the next, and this is sort of my process that I went through this. I didn't find this in a book. I didn't find this on the internet. I didn't see it on YouTube. Nobody told me to do this. I just sat back, and there's one thing that I love, and I actually wanted to put it up here, but I thought it's going to be a little bit busy in the background, but it's my trusty old flip chart. What I love about using my flip chart is that it's big, number one. I can stand and write. And then what I can do is I can stand back. So I can stand back and I can look at it from a distance. And then you see things. Like, I've written so many things in books that I can't, like, it doesn't click. But I write on the flip chart and I draw pictures and I sort of look at it from a distance, and suddenly you start seeing a few things. So what I basically did was, I thought, like, so the starting point for me would be, what do I want my life to be like? How do I envision? How would I love each day to be? And again, this weekend when we were in the bush, the same thing happened. I was lying in bed and I could just look out at the sunrise, and just it was beautiful there. And I was just thinking to myself, I would love to see the sun rise every single morning, and I would like to see the sun set every single night. It's such a simple thing. You know, you live here in the city, and sometimes when you leave early, you drive certain places here in the West Rand, you can see the most beautiful sunrise. We're lucky here in Krugersdorp that we see a lot of sunsets where we are, but we don't see the sun rise necessarily because of the way that everything is built here. But I want to live in a place where I can see the sun rise in the morning and I can see it set in the evening. So that's a very simple thing, because I think that brings such a level of gratitude, and it's just something that speaks to me. But anyway, so that is sort of one of the things that I thought, but also then there's a couple of other things. So one of the things that are very important to me is that I want to be able to travel. Now, I've never traveled. I've traveled to Cape Town and Durban and PE. I think that's about that. So, and I was in Namibia once, but that's sort of my travel in my life. So my wife and I both want to travel, but I don't want to have to save and go on holiday and come back and I spend all the money. I want to build a business that can actually support that, so that I can, if I'm wherever I am in the world, as long as I've got internet, if I need to deliver a session or a show or a speech or whatever it may be, I want to be able to do it from there and still do work. As far as that is concerned. So that's one of the things that I started thinking about. One other thing that has also crept up in the last few weeks is sort of starting, I don't know, maybe it's because I turned 45, suddenly you start thinking about retirement. It's like, yeah, that's not my date. And then suddenly, no, there's not so much time anymore. So there's a few ideas around that we've been talking about. But then a big thing, here's the thing, and I'm going to get at the end to why this specific thing. When I had Michelle Hoskin on the show, Michelle said to me that she only works 3 days a week. Now, for somebody like me, that one sounds crazy, but it sounds idyllic at the same time. So what I want to do is exactly that. I want to change my life in such a way that I only work 3 days a week. It doesn't mean that for 4 days I'm lying around watching Netflix. I will go mad. I can't do that. But that means 3 days in a week that I actually work on projects or creating content or clients or whatever the case may be. The other 2 days I'm open to study. I'm open to go for coffee with my wife. I'm open to just take a road trip. I'm open to just attend stuff if I wanted to. But I've got the complete freedom of choosing what I want to do with that time. And then weekends will be like no work anymore, nothing. And only in the exceptional circle, like this weekend, unfortunately, there's a few things that I have to get done. But that's it. It was just because this was a busy week. So I don't mind if there's this weird weekend somewhere every now and then, that's fine. But that is sort of the things that I wrote down. And then I said to myself, okay, so currently with the way things are going, are there any of those things that I'll be able to achieve doing what I'm doing? And the thing is that, I don't know. I didn't know. At that point in time, I didn't know. And if you really think about this, so those 3 goals that I just shared with you, I mean, that is really talking about my vision. So this is how I see my life. I actually want to travel the world, work from anywhere. I love South Africa. I want to be in South Africa, but I also want to see the world. So I just want to, even if I travel in South Africa, I want to be able to work from anywhere. So that's exactly the same. But that's what I want to do. And I was just thinking, like, if I look at the way, how busy I am at the moment, all the things that I'm doing, the things where I'm helping, the things where I'm involved, and I'm just going like, you know what, I need to understand why is this vision so important to me. Why? So it boils down to your vision. So this is what you want and what is important to you, your values. And we've spoken about that quite a few times. So that is sort of where this whole thing started. And once I had clarity on that, what I then did was the following. And this you can apply to any area of your life. It doesn't really matter whether you're battling with relationships, you're battling with faith, you're battling with you're battling with just self-development or your work or, family. It doesn't matter what it is, but you can apply this to that area of your life. So what I did was, my trusty old flip chart, I drew some columns, a column for each of the main things that I do. So if you remember, my business was called Francois de Toy Consulting and Technology, but what we basically did or do is training, and we do consulting, and we do technology. And then there was a fourth column for other, because there was a whole host of things that I'm involved in that's got nothing to do with my business, actually, like our accounting practice, for example. So that's what I did. And then what I did was I started with training. And I said, what are all the things that I do in my business that would fall under that category? And I went through that, listed all of them. Did the same on the consulting side, so which things would fall under that. The technology side, the things that I do that fall under that. And then obviously all the other things that didn't fit into one of those three. And it's a huge list, trust me. I mean, even at that point, I stood back and I said to my wife, can you see? Do you see it? And she said to me, like, what? I said, this is why I feel the way I feel. This is why I'm drained. This is why I'm tired. This is why it feels like I'm not getting stuff done, because I am everywhere and I'm doing so many things. And really the reason for that, the main reason for that, I can tell you now, is because I'm trying to make ends meet most of the time. So you think that you have to do that, and the busier you are, the more your mind is off the end of the month and it's more focused on what it is that you need to do. But anyway, so then I did that, and then I said, okay, so let me take this and say, of all of the things, so I took each column with everything under that column, which of these things are generating income? Which of these things are not generating income right now, but they will in the future? And then I looked at which of these things that I'm doing will never, ever, ever result in money. Okay. So that is sort of what I did. I did it for training. I did it for the consulting. I did it for the technology as well as for the other stuff. Then what I did, once I knew which ones made money, I said, okay, so of these things that produce an income, which ones are significant and which ones are small or negligible or, not so huge. So I did that. So now I had an overview of, okay, so there's a lot of things that make money in training, but only that thing makes money. The rest of the stuff it's like here and there's something. So that already starts to tell a story. It already starts to sort of paint a picture. Then the big thing I did after that, so once I knew what makes money and what doesn't, I said, okay, so of all of these things, which things do I love to do and which things do I despise? Because there's a lot of things that I do that I do not like, but there's also some things that I absolutely love. And unfortunately, usually the things that I love so much are not the things that necessarily make an income. But at least I had that view. And the way that I did it is I used different colored cokies to sort of write and mark and do all sorts of stuff on there. So that was sort of the process that I went through. Then it was very easy for me to say, okay, so I could already see. So I started eliminating the consulting stuff. So under consulting was things like paraplanning, the Hello Advisor service that we've got. So all of that stuff, I've actually already eliminated. There's a couple of advisors here and there that if they ask me, I still help them. But I took it off my website. We're not marketing it anymore. I'm not promoting it. I'm saying no to a lot of the stuff that people ask me to do that falls under that. So that alone has already opened up a lot of time for me, or more time, not a lot, but more time. But that was sort of my premise. And then I built sort of below that a new sort of like what it is that this business is doing. There's also a couple of things that I got out of, that I was involved under other, that I can't. I got myself out of that because I realized that I don't love doing that stuff. And there's no real reason for me to be involved in things like that. So I cut it. And that's usually, if you can make those decisions and then take action on those decisions, that is how you start simplifying your life. And it doesn't mean that you need to like pull the rug or pull the plug on everything and then start from scratch. It is simply, I think the first thing is to eliminate the things that are really, you don't like doing it. Or even if you do like doing it, it doesn't really mean a good income, because I realized the thing that is really driving my business is my content. So there's a lot of people out there, a lot of corporates that are licensing my content, and that is the thing that has really kept my business alive. So I need to do better content or more interesting content, and understand what is it that the need is out there, and then develop more content that I can then sell on to them. The lucky thing is, because it stays my content, I can then offer it via circulars online, for instance. We can bring some of the stuff into the show. There's a whole host of other things that I'm planning that we will utilize that same information. But that sort of is where it started. And then I felt like, now I have a bit more time. Now I have a bit more this. Now I have a bit more that. And there are definitely, I didn't explicitly tell anyone that, listen, I'm not going to be available or that. So I get a lot of, yes, but are you so famous we can't get hold of you anymore? It was just a conscious decision that I can't do as much as I wanted to do, and being realistic about that. So I think the one mistake that I made is not telling people up front. But I think from my point of view, it's just like I had to go through that process, and I had to sort of open up time for myself so I get time to think and I've got space to think. And that is sort of where that landed up on. And then the big thing was, I looked at the things that were left after I eliminated all these things, and I said, okay, so if I look at my dream and my vision and my goal in that, of how I want my life to be, the things that are left, how likely is it that they would get me there? Or which one of those things or two of those things would actually get me there? And then if like there were some of them that it doesn't matter, it's not going to get me there. Okay, so what else can I do? What else can I then rather bring into the business? Maybe eliminate another thing and bring something else in that will enable me to achieve those things. And sometimes those are the questions that are hard to really answer, and the questions that are hard to follow to get to an answer, because we don't know. Often we think, yeah, here's a plan, here's a strategy, let's see what happens. You don't really know for sure. There's no certainty ever. But I can promise you this happened to me, is that the more I do that, the more I look at it, and it's an ongoing process. It's not like I did it once and now I've got the answers. I'm still figuring out quite a few things. And there's some other passions that are burning inside of me, where in the week I was in tears again when I saw certain things, and I'm like these things talk so directly to my heart and to who I am and my soul and all of that, So, and it is part of my business, luckily. But once you know that this is where you're headed and you're very clear on these things, now making those decisions becomes so much easier. And look, there's nothing you can tell me about like, yeah, Francois, but we've got to eat at the end of the month, or I need to pay my house, or I need to do this. Trust me, I've lived this since 2013. It's not easy. But now in the last few months, when I started making decisions and taking real actions on those decisions, I can promise you things are moving forward, and not just moving forward, but it's moving in the direction that I ultimately want, So yeah, I just think like, you know what? You can't save the entire world. Yesterday I was watching a guy called Steve. I can't remember his name. He's a little dwarf man, but they call him Steve. And it's just amazing. He's just, you know what? You can't make people do anything. If you want to help people, but they don't see your value, they don't see, it comes down to, it's not your job to convince them. They will come to you when they are ready. And I think for such a long time, I've been trying to help everybody that come across my path. And it was so hard to say, well, you know what, maybe some are just not ready for that, and then just move on from there. So you put a lot of effort and things into that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think what I've done so far, I can already feel that it is opening up more space, a bit more time. And I'm starting to feel a little bit more relaxed. We've even started exercising now. Again, well, after I've exercised many times in my life, believe it or not. But we now have time. If I decide I want to go do a bike ride for 30 minutes, then I go. That's my privilege to be able to do that, and I'll continue, and that's the kind of life that I really want to live. And whereas previously I was so busy, there just wasn't time. If I take half an hour to go do something, then I'm behind. It means I'm going to go to bed half an hour later. So already by doing these kind of things, so the biggest thing here is learning to say no. But to be able to say no, you have to be very, very clear on what it is that you do need to say yes for. So that is really important. Before I get to the why, let me just quickly see. Johan says, you'll have to spend money to build your practice. Delegation, very important. I think we must have coffee sometime. Johan, ons kan so maak. It's called, waar's Kobus nou? It's called passive income from various income streams. It allows for a whole person quality of life with no concerns. Absolutely, Kobus. You see, I think the biggest problem with that is that by the time you realize that it's about that, you're so far down this rabbit hole that then to change is a bit more difficult and it's a bit more effort, but that is the thing. It is that thing to have these multiple income. Actually, the person that I spoke to this morning, we were talking at exactly the same thing to say, well, you've got to have 4 or 5 different income streams. But, which of these things, like if you talk about passive income, it's like usually only investment income is maybe sort of passive. But there's got to be a strategy to build it, and it takes time to build. So, but that is absolutely the aim where you should try and get to. Kuvendra, our vision board, it really works well for me. Give focus and more meaning in life. And then bring on the content, says Almo. I will do that. You'll always have some things where you don't earn income but add value to your value prop. I like the way you analyzed your life. Thank you, Johan. Yes, so I fully agree with you, because it doesn't mean like if something didn't make money that I cut it. Because it's not to say that thing itself maybe doesn't make money. And it's good that you bring this point up. But it does generate money somewhere else. So if I take the show, for example, or my podcast, it doesn't make money, not a cent. It's just costing me money. But I see it as an investment because it reaches people. It makes people aware of that I exist in the first place. But that then leads to, if I look at what we talk on this show, for example, I never talk the stuff that I actually do, like training on tax and estate planning, because I would, like most of you, would not then be here. So we talk about life, and we talk about business, and we talk about mindset and all this stuff. But then ultimately, when I say, well, I've got a refresher or there's a course or something happening, then people enroll in that. And I've had so many people join these refreshers during lockdown that I've never had at any one of my workshops. So, you can't pull a direct line between the show and that, but I can tell you that, just because something doesn't make money doesn't mean that it doesn't make a difference and it doesn't have an impact, and also ultimately that it doesn't come back to the business in some other form, possibly. So I fully agree there with you, Johan. All right, so why? Why should we simplify? And this is the main question here. And for me, there's really, there's one thing, and I think, and this really hit home for me when I listened to a podcast where Kate Holmes was interviewing Kim Potgieter. Kim was telling Kate where things changed for her and why she got into financial services. And it was the story, and I hope she doesn't mind me telling this again, but it was when it was about a mom and dad, where they were talking about what they want to do when they retire, and they had all these plans, but now it's work, and kids, and all that stuff. And then what happened was her dad got killed in a hijacking at the age of 59, and her mom passed away from pancreas cancer at 63. So neither one of them got to do the things that they dreamt about, the things that they spoke about. And that was sort of like, yes, because that's exactly me. I'm so busy in my business, that I'm not doing the things that I should be doing. Although I've got a great relationship with my wife, I don't spend the time that I'm supposed to spend. My kids like so independent and go on their own. I don't spend the time that I should be spending because I'm always working. And I think these things have now started to catch up with me in one way, but more of that, I'm starting to get burned out. And the reason is because I don't have balance. So everything in life is about balance. We spoke when Jay Naidu was on the show during August. We spoke about the extremes and whether moving from one extreme to the other extreme really works, and it doesn't. I mean, you can look at anything, whether it is righting the wrongs from the past, going like completely from, it was one thing and now we implement another system because we need to make up because these people don't know what they did to these people. All that's happening now over time is like we go from there, we go to there. In fact, we want to be in the middle. We want to have balance. And everything in life is about balance. You can go and see that the answers does not lie on the edges. It doesn't lie in the extremes. It's not about the person that goes the fastest over the shortest period of time. It is about the person that can keep going consistently. So it's about balance. It's not about speed. It's not about any of those things. So that's what I'm really after in my life. So simplifying my life is the only way that I see it, that I'll be able to actually achieve that and get that. So that's my main reason for simplifying. And I think that there's so many others out there. This morning, earlier, I had a meeting as well with someone, and we were talking about the same kind of thing, And ultimately, yes, we can do so many things ourselves, because the question was, I'm paying someone to do my social media, but now that I'm looking at it, I can just as well do it myself. And yes, you can do it yourself, but isn't there more valuable things you can do than put a post on LinkedIn? Some people love the social media stuff, others don't. But then they feel, I can save money by doing that. And that's the first step in the wrong direction. So balance is knowing what you're good at, what is it that you love to do, but then to say, well, if I can work 3 days a week, then there will be more balance because I've got time to exercise, I've got time to learn, I've got time to spend time with my family, I can spend more time with friends. Trust me, my friends are also not seeing me. So, those are the things. And so it's absolutely about balance. And ultimately, I think if you really think about it, and we became so aware of it during this time of lockdown and this pandemic and all of it, is we crave human connection. Connecting like this is awesome, but still nothing is ever going to beat two people standing around a braai or having a coffee or eating breakfast together or going for a run together or cycling together or anything like that. So relationships trumps everything else. And that's a relationship and connection, because, there are some people, relationships, we may know one another, but then some of us are very connected. We are much closer than others. So yeah, and then also I think the other thing that can happen when I simplify my life, and as I said, this is a journey. I hope to have this sort of 80% figured out and done by December, but it will allow me to focus. Because that's the problem. There was this picture that I saw, and I will forward it to you all after the show. And I think, well, if you're on the WhatsApp list, or if you want to see, go onto the WhatsApp list, I will forward you this image. And it clearly shows you, like, if you're not focused and you're working on many things, what happens to your energy? And then if you're focused on one thing and you direct your energy, what happens then? So that was another eye-opening moment for me. So for me, it's also about being able to focus. And then it's also about the quality that I can deliver. Because the problem is, if you do too many things, quality suffers, unfortunately, because you're racing against time, you're trying to hit deadlines, then you're late, then you're early, it's just like, no, I like to do things in a particular way, and I feel like I've lost a bit of control over that. So those are really my reasons. So I want to balance my life. I want to prioritize relationships and connections in my life. I want to be able to focus, and I want to do quality stuff. I will rather do less, but when you get it, you know that it is the best you're going to get and see. Let me see quickly. There was some... So Kobus says, correct, took me 25 years combined from property rental, share dividends, and assets under management from my practice. Yes, I mean, Kobus, you had a plan from day one, if I remember correctly, when you and I spoke on the podcast. Then, and it takes time. So one should get there, and you should start as early as possible. So that's awesome. Almo says that's an achievement of note, and it took a good amount of time. Yep. And then Conkedu, is it? Sorry if I get your name wrong. Good afternoon. Welcome. Nice to have you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my story for this Friday afternoon. I look forward to being back on Tuesday for episode 102. And it's almost like a restart. So we started at episode 1. It was still called day 1, day 2, day 3 back then. And then I think from 4 or 5 or somewhere we started calling them episodes. But yeah, now we're in the hundreds and we go 101, 102. So it's a 1, 2, 3 all over again. And now let's get to 150. So that is the aim. I will go see where we should end up by December. I am going to take a break in December. I already planned when we will stop. I think it's around the 11th or so. Round about there will be the last episode, and then we'll pick it up again in January. But until then, every Tuesday, every Friday, we'll be live. So from my side, please go check out the podcast with Derek Notman. It's available on any platform, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it, you'll find it. Just search for Propulsion. And otherwise, you can go to the website propulsion.co.za/EP23 and go and listen to that. It's been, I've got some good messages back from people who listened and who said thanks, that came just at the right time. So please go check that out. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thanks for watching.